I still can't believe the New York Jets won that game, but today, whether it's by 1 point or 1,000 points, Victory Monday. Let's get into it. Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans. Field Yates, baby. Field gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show. Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor gosh darn Sycamore, baby. For me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas. Zach Wilson is good. Yes, he is. He got it done, baby. The New York Jets beat the New York Giants 13-10. It was improbable. It was unlikely. Kayvon Thibodeau sacked Zach Wilson on 4th down. I'm like, Zach, what the hell are you doing? You don't even give your people a chance. And then I start doing the math in my head. I'm like, we got 2 timeouts. We get the stop. Okay, we're down 6. Oh, we need a touchdown. We only had one of those this game. Oh, but we could make him miss the field goal. He's already missed another field goal. Could do that. And then you have 30 seconds to try to get back in this thing and beat Boop Bapa. Again, glass half full guy. Eternal optimist. I was trying to put the puzzle pieces together, and then it happened, and I'm like, did we just go to overtime? Oh my goodness. They wouldn't even let the other guy throw. We've got an opportunity, and they won the freaking day, man. Every week, this is a week-by-week league here in the NFL. Figure it out, regroup, get ready for the next week, which we will do. This is our final Victory Monday note on the New York Giants game. At the end of the show, we'll start turning the page over to the LA Chargers as a week from today on Monday Night Football. And the guest who joins me every Monday here on Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available on the audio-only version of the podcast. Simply search for Boy Green Daily, is Italy Jet. Ciao, Italy Jet. Let's welcome him this morning, and he'll be with us for the game day preview next Monday on Monday Night Football. Good morning, Italy.
Good morning, Boy Green. Oh, my freaking goodness.
Yeah.
That's pretty much I could say for now.
That's a good way to put it. Although I'm going to throw in a couple of immediate comments. So let's see.
Go for
let's
it.
See here. Where was it? Where did we get? So Giants Red Wedding for all our Game of Thrones people. I love this one, Jennifer, because for Game of Thrones people, right? That like the greatest episode of Game of Thrones history.
There you go.
So everyone's at the wedding, and then it's the Jets Giants game, and all of a sudden the Giants think everything's going great. Oh, this is a great wedding. We're going to beat the Jets, and then all of a sudden you see Mrs. Stark pull the sleeve and see chainmail, and she goes, "Oh no, something's about to go down." And the old Jet fan, wink, and then it's a massacre, and they figure it out. Not massacre like they won by a lot, but massacre like the unbelievable, the improbable happened. According to the ESPN analytics, the Jets had, I think it was a 99.9% chance of losing at the most critical moment of yesterday's game, and they overcame those incredible odds to win the game, which is what it's all about, baby. So, Jennifer, great call on the Game of Thrones shout out. I like that as well. Gilbert saying Victory Monday kind of still counts.
Mm-hmm.
An ugly win, it is a win. And my father said that was an embarrassing game yesterday, and I need to burn the podcast because I said I completely overlooked the Giants and predicted a 24-6 win. What I did not predict, we will talk about this a little bit later, Italy, is the rash of injuries to the New York Jets and how they respond.
Yes.
The trade deadline is tomorrow, Halloween. So happy early Halloween, people, at 4:00. So we will talk about that in a little bit. And so I'll highlight a few more comments here. Then I just want to give one comparison. So the game took back football 80 years, very possible. Hey, what's the matter with you? I love it, Jared. Very nice.
There you
Very
go,
nice.
Jared. There you go, Jared.
Yeah, it was so Victory Monday. Enjoy it, everybody. Hey, it all counts. It's beautiful. I do want to give a shout out. Give a shout out to Joe Caporoso, Badlands Feed. Love that guy. We've had him on the show before. When referencing this game and him saying it and me looking back at the tape and looking at the game, he brought up that this game sort of felt like a poor man's version of the Jets-Texans game. Now, if you guys remember, that was November 21st, 2010. In that game, the Jets had a massive lead. Like, they were annihilating the Texans. So it's different than this Giants game. That's why I said a poor man's version. Jets are annihilating the Texans. We're on cruise control. Jets are going to win that game. Texans make a wild comeback, take the lead over the Jets. Now it's like, oh no, this is going to be an embarrassing loss for the New York Jets. They had this big lead. They've blown it. They're so dumb. They suck. However, Mark Sanchez goes crazy on the final drive with 49 seconds to go. He hits LaDainian Tomlinson. There's a callback, baby. LT. Loved him as a Jet. You get him for 5 yards. Then LaDainian Tomlinson for 19 yards. Couple of passes. Spike the ball. Oh, no. We need to have enough time. He spikes with 24 seconds on the clock. Then Mark Sanchez unloads down the right sideline for 42 yards to Braylon Edwards. And then quick timeout. That one by Houston after they get assembled to try to line up what they're going to do. First and goal, Mark Sanchez back in the left corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Santonio Holmes. Tone time replay to confirm it challenged the incomplete pass ruling, and it was upheld. That ends up being the touchdown. Booyah, Jets come back to win. So it's a very poor man's version of that, but I love that callback. I had to give a shout out there as well. So spectacular, and Jets found a way to win. So Italy, what was your initial reaction or comment that you choose to share about the Jets in that 13-10 victory over Big Blue?
Well, I've been saying this all week on all my shows that if this game could turn into we could win by 10 or we're going to win by 3 and play down to their level. And that's exactly what happened. We played down to their level. 6 to 7 injuries. Could have been a 7 if Gibson went out, but 6 injuries, that's a bust. It's mostly on us with the injuries. I was very worried about the offensive line. I think everybody else was. But unexpected hero, Morstead. Unbelievable. Yes, I love every minute of it. And also everything at the end. And here's a stat from NFL on CBS.
I love
Zach
stats.
Wilson.
Yes.
Zach Wilson is the first QB since 2000 to win a game with multiple 25-plus yard completions within the final 30 seconds of the fourth quarter.
That's an unbelievable stat, Italy. That's a wow stat. And this is why I don't understand that. So, okay, was Zach Wilson perfect yesterday? Absolutely not. Of course he wasn't. He missed Breece Hall. He held the ball way too long. You can never eat a sack on fourth down. You at least have to give your guys a chance because as we saw on the Malik Taylor play in overtime, you never know when a penalty can be thrown. So you just chuck it. You chuck it, baby. Give your guys a chance to catch it, make a play, or draw a flag. So inexcusable to eat a sack there. Embarrassing. And that coulda, shoulda, woulda been the end of the game. And I do want to say, I mentioned on the show yesterday, but to repeat, I don't blame Brian Daboll for his decision at all. It's all hindsight 2020 to say he should have went for it. Think about this. He kicks the field goal. It's successful. It was 35 yards. Graham Gano's got a wonderful leg. He's been pretty good all year, and the Giants just signed into a fat extension recently. If he makes that field goal, the Jets are down 6 with the same amount of time left with no timeouts to score a touchdown, which they had only done once the entire game on, I don't want to call it a fluke play, but Breece Hall had to break like 1,000 tackles to make that touchdown happen. Yeah, good call by Daboll. He shanks the kick. It doesn't. If you want to question anybody, earlier on that little mini drive that the Giants had, Saquon Barkley slid and could have gotten more yards. It ended up being 4th and 1. Maybe he gets enough and they get the first down and that game could very well be over. So that's where, if you really want to raise a question, do it there. But I think it's just super hindsight to say, Daboll should have went for it. So Giant fans, you should lay easy on that guy. Sawa said after the game, he would have done the same thing of forcing the Giants to basically go the length of the field. So I just want to make sure that was thrown out into the universe on that. Because, again, a lot of hindsight 2020 on that. But to Zach Wilson's point, back to you, Italy, I just have to say that he wasn't perfect by any means. He held the ball too long. He missed guys. But on the other side, I would say there's drops, crucial penalties all over the place.
Exactly.
And he led when he needed to. Again, in that moment, and he had the swag. I loved that in the post game. He went like 24 seconds. Let's do this thing. And he didn't guys, like straight face. And that's how he told it to the team, apparently. Man, this
Yeah.
young man has matured. So wonderful stat that highlights it in a beautiful way. I love that.
24 seconds, no problem. Listen, everything that Zach Wilson did that game, and people got to realize that he is. It's not. You're gonna see flashes of old Zach Wilson, and you're gonna see some new flashes of Zach Wilson that people aren't used to. And with Zach Wilson right now, I mean, you got three guys that were out on the offensive line, and for what he did in the final seconds going into overtime, you can even go from Greg Zuerlein on his interview. He was nervous on making that kick at the end. He even
I
said
did
in
not see
regular
that.
practice, he
Wow.
said he would have missed that. You would have missed that. Overall, there are things that he did were not great, but the thing is, it counted when he needed to be there. And
Yes.
I mean, Lazard, the time management at the end, everyone hurrying up with 1 second left. The old Zach Wilson, that would have been 0-0-0.
100%.
I'm
100%.
just saying.
And another thing to shut up some Jet fans. And someone said, hey, get Morstead back on the show. He's been a multi-time member of the show. We'll see. I'm sure he'll be a very popular man this week. But I love Morstead.
Yeah.
He's a great dude. He's been very kind to me. He's been very kind to me.
Where's his heart on his sleeve? Where's his heart
He
on
does.
his sleeve, man?
And I know we don't give enough love to punters and things of
Kickers
that
and
nature.
everything else. So yeah.
Of course, but go to my Twitter if you haven't seen it, or Thomas Morstead's. He retweeted it. There's basically a 3-minute interview. So you guys sometimes see the podium interviews. That's what happens with the players, and everyone sees those. But a lot of people don't see the one-on-one interviews that happen in the tunnel. And he did this emotional 3-minute interview with Ethan Greenberg, and he was just like crying about how much his team meant to him. This team, the Jets, taking a chance on him when no one else would. He called himself the old man of the league. It's a great call out, Italy, because Thomas Morstead, think about, he set up both safeties with that field position. And in a game like this, field position was more critical than ever. Sometimes you get into a boxing match and you're supposed to annihilate the guy in round 1 or round 2. All of a sudden, it's round 4 and he survived. And now all of a sudden, it's getting nasty. You just got to find a way to survive that moment. It wasn't what you expected, but all of a sudden you're in the fight. You're like, okay, I need to win this thing. This isn't what I expected. This wasn't in the script, but let's figure it out and I'll survive. And I'm still the great ass fighter that I was heading into this fight, but I can recalibrate, get ready for the next week. So just because the Jets did not look great in this game, some people calling this a garbage win that doesn't count the same and things of that nature, that's bullshit, because this 100% counts the same. This counts just the same as the Eagles game. You may not think so, but it does. They're both the same win in the column. So now the Jets have to regroup with all these injuries, and let's get into that here. Italy, again, we're here on Boy Green Daily, and we know 3 of the status. We'll see more, unfortunately, as the week goes on, potentially, but Woods, torn Achilles, out for the season. That is the 3rd Jets player of the season to have a torn Achilles and be out for the year in the first 8 weeks of the season. And one of those weeks was a bye. So that's absolutely brutal. Loved Al Woods, was one of my favorite guys at the podium. He's just so straight. He's a country boy from Louisiana. He's just, man, he is as straight as they come. And that can often be like unintentionally funny how blunt he is, which is really cool. So I'm thinking about the family and, of course, Al Woods himself. And this could be the end of his career. He's 36 years of age. And he and his wife, when he's on his tractor, he told this story. When he's on his tractor down in Louisiana, he'll come home, they'll have dinner, some, gumbo or something. And then he said he and his wife sit over the table and say, hey, should I do this again with the football? All right, I'll do it again. And then he goes back and does it. So this could be, on a very sad note, the end of his career. So I really hope that's not the case. The other 2 are up in the air, and those are, I don't want to say more important. All the injuries are tough, but 2 of them on the offensive line, Connor McGovern, the guy who was playing center, and Wes Schweitzer, the guy who replaced him at center, both hurt, both limping badly, apparently in the locker room, some with crutches and a boot on the foot. It's just, it doesn't sound good. We should get an update later today from Robert Saleh when he speaks to the media. The trade deadline is tomorrow, Italy.
Yes.
So, again, offensive linemen are hard to acquire, but Joe Douglas did it before. A couple years ago, remember, he traded a 4-string tight end, Daniel Brown. I don't even know if Jet fans knew he was on the roster when he was traded, but nonetheless, he was traded for Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, who he traded a 4-string tight end for what ended up being a right guard for like 8 games of the season.
Right.
And then he actually came back for the future. So there's all kinds of a relationship there. He made it happen before where he found an offensive lineman where it seemed like an offensive lineman didn't exist. He will have to have that same magic again to try to fill a void on the line. Again, we do not know the status of either player, but according to
Correct.
Zach Rosenblatt, both quote unquote are expected to miss time. That was according to Zach Rosenblatt. We did not
Right.
get that sort of update from Saleh. So what's the plan here? Let me ask you, Italy, where do you go with now? Because the Jets, because of all this, had to play Xavier Newman, a practice squad call-up about at both guard and
Yeah.
center. Obviously not ideal, but you need to figure out something. What's the plan here on the O-line? What do we do?
You gotta make a couple trades. You gotta be on there for 24 hours. You have a team that could definitely make the playoffs. But if you're gonna do squeeze wins like this, it's gonna be really ugly later on if you get blown out. You need to protect Zach, even if Aaron Rodgers comes back. Whatever. You gotta protect him. And you gotta go out and get a couple guys on the O line, whether it's a center or a guard. And especially if, well, let's just be honest, like you said, Joe Douglas has done this before with trades. I think he's going to be looking in Tennessee. I think he's going to be looking in Denver. I think there's going to be options. It's going to be very little, but there are options. So I just don't want to go off the practice squad anymore. I want to get some guys that are, I don't know about mediocre, but at least played more games there than in the last 2 years than some in the last 5. Just go out there and give me some guys, man. You got to do it if you're all in this year.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what trades they could cook up. Again, to your point, I think those are interesting places to look in Tennessee and Denver. Some free agents, again, La'el Collins, they kick the tires on. Now, I know he plays tackle, but you're going to have to do some musical chairs here, unfortunately, because of what's happened. So to increase the overall depth, because you now need to hope for the best and expect the worst. So La'el Collins is someone I would investigate. One I mentioned on the show yesterday, Ben Jones, who I don't know if he's officially retired, but the Jets, kick the tires. He's got a direct relationship with Keith Carter. He's been a very solid center when healthy for the Tennessee Titans over the last batch years. He's a guy I would investigate. To your point, I'd check the Broncos pantries. I'd check the Tennessee Titans pantries and see. I know the Broncos are trying to potentially move Garrett Bowles, I've heard, but he's an offensive tackle. Again, where could you plug him? Dwayne Brown, he could have come back this week technically off of IR. He did not. The practice window did not open up. There's a chance that opens up this week. Could he play another position? Saleh said he would play, quote unquote, the best 5. That could indicate Dwayne Brown kicks to guard or kicks to right tackle. Jason Peters did that last year, so it's not completely obtuse. So that's another guy that could help. So, but here's the thing. What Joe Douglas needs to shed is his pride and dignity. And what I mean is this. Do anything in your power to improve the offensive line roster. Practice squad, XFL, CFL, your mama's FL, your grandma's FL. I don't care whose football league. You try to find offensive linemen on this planet that can suit up and strap up and line up, because that's what they're going to need. Bluntly, this has been an unbelievable rash of injuries to the offensive line. It's sickening that guys like Dwayne Brown have been hurt, Elijah Vera Tucker, and so many others. We could go through all the names we just mentioned yesterday.
Joe Tippmann. I mean,
geez, the Lou. It's so hopefully a couple of things here. Hopefully, Saleh was optimistic about Tippmann. Now that doesn't make me feel any better because he's been horrible with injuries. But the fact that the thing that does help me and make me feel a little good is I thought there was a slight chance we see him placed on IR on Saturday. That's normally what happens. You wait all the way through the week, go, it's not going to happen, because you don't want to waste a game of the IR. Because if you know he's not going to play for a while, you want to put him on IR before the Giants game, so that counts as one of the games. They did not do that. So to me, that is some level of optimism that he's closer to come back than not. Because, again, if they did not feel that way, they would have placed him on IR. So Tippmann floating, Dwayne Brown floating. That helps a little bit, but you still have to add more bodies to the room, whether that's a practice squad or there. Regardless, you need to get aggressive. Okay. And Joe Douglas is not a man who's afraid to. The Jets are 4-3, and they're very much in the conversation. And I'll bring this up as we're sort of wrapping up here. I'll bring this up here on the program that The AFC East could change this weekend. Here are the games that are happening here in the AFC East. The Buffalo Bills travel to Cincinnati. The Cincinnati Bengals just beat San Francisco in San Francisco. There you go. There's number one on the docket. The Dolphins will travel to Germany to play the Kansas City Chiefs, who just lost to the Broncos. They might have that on the mind. The Jets host the LA Chargers on Monday Night Football. Again, a week from today, me and Italy would do our game day preview of that contest on Monday. And then the Patriots play whoever they play. It's some crap team, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
They're out of the
right,
picture.
right.
So
Yeah.
I throw them aside. They don't matter. But if the Bills lose and the Jets win, the Jets leapfrog the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East. And if the Dolphins lose, which they certainly could to the Chiefs, all of a sudden the Dolphins get within range. Jets are in second place. Dolphins are hovering in first place. And the Jets haven't played them twice yet. I'm feeling very good about this team. I'm feeling very good about the way that they survived and found a way. And I'm pretty excited for next week. But this week's all about, being aggressive, regrouping, and coming up with a plan, not only for the Chargers game, but the rest of the season as a whole.
And also, I'm going to share this later on one of my pods, is if this team wants to beat the Chargers, you got to improve on penalties. Clemens and JJ's penalty almost screwed us over.
That should have cost us. Quite
bad.
frankly, we are lucky. We are lucky.
Yes.
We have a 4-leaf clover shoved up our ass. That 100%. Jermaine one went from a field goal attempt from the Giants to a touchdown. That again, and they held that 10-7 lead for the whole game. And then the other one, Michael Clemens, I had it yesterday.
Oh my God! I was screaming at my TV.
7:59 on the clock. Here's how bad it was. 7:59 on the clock in the fourth quarter. Michael Clemens jumps off sides. Giants are gifted a first down. The Jets don't get the ball back until 2:40-ish. With 2:40-ish left in the game. They lost 5+ minutes of game time because of that disgusting, embarrassing penalty. And, of course, the field position. The Giants are going to punt from their 8-yard line. Michael Clemens, you're right on top of the ball. That is inexcusable. That's a dumbass. I love Michael Clemens. Again, another player I have a really good relationship with. What a dumbass penalty, man. Like, come on, man.
And anytime that Zach Wilson was throwing the ball right in their hands, drops. You have to improve
too many drops
on the drops. It doesn't matter if it was Lazard. It wasn't just him. There was a few other ones. If you want to win in Chargers, it's two things you need to improve on immediately. Even with Zach Wilson too, with the holding. Yes.
Initial thought here, Italy, as we're wrapping up. Again, you will be with me for the full preview of the Chargers game of the week. We'll have all the information at our fingertips of injuries and everything else. But as it currently stands right now, what are your initial gut feelings on the Chargers game? A lot of people believe it's winnable because that defense has been terrible. They blew out the Bears last night, but the Bears aren't really great. But they play the Chargers, and it's at home. It's on Monday Night Football, and the Jets played really well in primetime this season.
That's one of the things is, we shockingly, we've been very good on prime time. Like I never thought the Jets would be, but we are. But the thing is, they're coming to New Jersey. The weather here is not, the weather here is not great right now. So you're going there and you're going to play in weather that Herbert's not really that great in. So it's going to be very interesting. I think it's going to be a close game again, just like every Jets game. I think last 10 minutes, but I think it's a winnable game, but I am scared. I'm scared because I want to see
a lot of talent over there.
A lot of talent on both sides. Our defense is amazing, but I want to see what the old line looks like going into that game, and then I'll know more.
Yeah, I will just say this. I think this will be a Zach Wilson game. And what I mean by that is not that I guarantee Zach Wilson's going to be amazing, although I think there are opportunities. I think Justin Herbert is going to score some points. So Jets defense is really good, and they've held people to 14 or whatever. But they're going to do more than basically they got 10 points. But, they're going to do more than Tommy DeVito / Tyrod Taylor's limp body did. So, he's going to be putting some action up. So Zach Wilson's got to be ready. The thing I feel confident about is that Chiefs game is he stepped up to the plate. He's like, oh, Mahomes, we're going to duel. Let's go. And he outdueled Patrick Mahomes in that game. They lost. The Jets lost, but he outdueled him in that game. Let's see what happens in this Chargers game. I think he will step up to play. I think it will be called differently. The pitching game will be called differently playing the Chargers defense than it is the Giants defense. Chargers defense, a lot of talent. Bosa, Derwin James,
Yeah.
Khalil Mack, and so many others. But I
Right,
think there's some
Hendricks, yep.
opportunities there. Absolutely. Yeah. There's some dudes on this team, but I'm excited for the opportunity. Officially tomorrow, we'll switch it over to Jets Chargers week. Jake Asman will be joining us tomorrow morning. We've got a few Chargers people late in the week. God bless them for getting up early. It's 3 hours different for them, 3 hours earlier than I am at 4:30 in the morning. God bless them. So I've got a few Chargers people, and we'll see what happens. Italy, set us up. What do you have later today with all your podcasts?
I got Everything NYJ podcast. Go to Everything NYJ on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook later today. This week got the Jets duo show with Jude Jets, and then also we got the Jets Evening Brew with my man Jigga Man Porto. We got Long Beach Joe coming on. We got some few other guys, Gunny Gumby situation report. But yeah, listen, going into Monday, Boy Green, as long as we don't play down to our competition, and then with the big guys, we play up to their competition, we're going to be okay. I'm Italy Jet. All social media platforms, follow me. Boy Green, my friend, you're amazing as usual.
I appreciate that, and of course I am. I am spectacular. There's no doubt about it. But and also Zach Rosenblatt last week. Nice, the guest flexion. Okay.
Yes,
Hey
sir.
now.
Yes,
That's what I'm
sir.
talking about, baby.
Yes, sir.
So guys, make sure you follow him at Italy_Jet baby on the old X machine. That'd be spectacular. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 7:30 with Jake Asman joining us on the show, starting off Jets Chargers week. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you then.